Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Fundamentals of Theory 1, Session 3, where we're starting on the 11th page right here. Okay, again, just in case you've forgotten, if you are not sure how to do the editing in here, make sure you're on the draw feature. Please make sure you're selecting that red pen. That makes it easier for me to see. If you need to erase marks, you can use the erasing tool or using Control-Z. That's the keyboard shortcut and one that I personally find to be the fastest. So those are your kind of very quick things that should allow you to do pretty much everything that you're doing in here. Okay. All right, so we are on the top of page 11. Here we go. An interval is the distance between two notes. I'm going to read this again so you understand this concept. An interval is the distance between two notes. Distance between two notes, that's important. We indicate what interval the two notes are by a number. In order to determine the number of the interval, you count the bottom note, any lines and spaces between it, and the top note itself. Okay? This chart right here is going to be crucial for you to memorize, commit to memory, whatever, so you understand how the interval relationships work. Okay? This first example, in treble clef, this is a C. Okay? These two notes are the same note. They're both a ledger line down, or the line below this bottom line in treble clef. Okay? And we indicate that as a 1. It's called a unison or a prime. We're just meaning it's the same note. Okay? Now, take a look at this next example. This is a C. This is a D. Alphabetically, it is the next letter in the alphabet, right? And in order to count intervals, you count the first one, so you can hopefully see my little red dot right there. That's my C dot. There's my D dot. How many dots are there? There's 2. It is called a second. Let's do the next one. Bottom note's a C again. Okay. Now I need to count my way up to this bottom line of treble clef, which is an E, right? So alphabet, I'm just going to say it. C, D, E. Kind of hard to see my red dot, but it is there. How many dots are there? There's 3 dots. That's a third. C, D, E, F. How many dots? 4 dots. That's a fourth, going from C to F. C, D, E, F. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last example. C, D, E, F, G. How many dots are there? I know this one's kind of hard to see. I did this one purposefully above it just a little bit so you can see it. There are 5 dots there. We're a fifth. C, D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a fifth. So hopefully me doing this little dot method will help, helping you guys to figure out what intervals are. Because eventually it's going to give you this and say, what interval is this? Okay, so you're going to need to be able to figure this out. Okay. For these examples right here, I'm going to do about half of them so you can see what the intervals look like, and then you'll do the second half. So circle the seconds in this music. So the seconds are the ones that look like this, okay, where it is one note and then the very next note of the alphabet. So for example, this one kind of looks like this one, right? Obviously, it's not the same lines in the spaces, but it's going from this first space to the next space, okay? This one, however, is going from the first space to the second line. There's kind of nothing in between here, right? So that is an example of a second. I'm going to circle that. Pretty much circling everything that looks like that. Okay? I'm going to leave these last examples for you to figure that out on your own, but that's what a second looks like. Thirds, looking for something that looks like this, where it's going line to line, or in this case, space to space. This is an example of a third. So let's check this out. Line to line. Space to space, line to line, space to space. I'll leave this one for y'all to do. That's what thirds look like. Fourths. This one's going from a line to 2 spaces above that, or it could be a space to 2 lines above that. Again, your fourth. These ones are kind of harder to see because they're obviously the interval is expanding, right? It's getting bigger. So if you need to do this and check, okay, here's C, D, E, F. How many dots? That's 4. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and circle this because that's a fourth. Here is F, G, A, B. That's also another fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? That one's a single note by itself. Don't need to circle that. Single note, single note. D, E, F, G. 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a fourth. D, E, F. That's 3 notes, right? 1, 2, 3. That is not a fourth. E, F, G, A. That's a fourth. D, E, F, G, A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a fifth, right? So not an example of a fourth. Okay, I'll leave this last part for you to do there, and then the fifth. So this one is starting on a line, skips a line, and then it's the very next line. So it's kind of missing this middle one here. Or it can be, in this case, starts on a space, skips a space, on the next space. That's an example of a fifth. Single note, E, F, G, 1, 2, 3. And again, this is F, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's an example of a fifth. That's something we want to circle. G, A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's another fifth. F, G, A, B, 1, 2, 3, 4. No. F, G, A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, that is a fifth. And again, I will let you guys do this as practice, but that's how you figure out intervals, okay? Again, this chart up here, crucial that you get used to what those intervals look like, and obviously figuring it out. Like if you just can't memorize this, that's fine. But you should be able to figure it out by using these dots, okay? 1, 2, 3 for a third, 1, 2, 3, 4 for a fourth, okay? Hopefully this makes sense. Please ask me if you don't understand it, because now we actually get to do it here. Write the number of these intervals in the blank below each interval. So if you've memorized those shapes and you just know, okay, I know that's a fourth, and I know that's a unison, and I know that's a second, good for you. You've memorized the shapes. It should be very easy for you. However, if you are not, if you can't figure it out by sight, here's how you do it. 1, 2, 3, 4. How many dots do I have? 4. 1, 2, 3. How many dots do I have? 3. And all I'm doing is the bottom note, and then I'm counting up to the top note and all the notes in between. Okay. Another way you can do this too is, this is we're in treble clef, so this is A, B for the line, C for the space, D for the line, E for the space. Did the dots so you can see it, but again, A, B, C, D, E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is a fifth. C, D, E. That is a third. C, D. Oh, I wrote the alpha instead of the number. Sorry about that. That's a second. Okay, I'm going to leave all of these intervals for you guys to practice. This is good practice for you to get to know this. Very crucial, okay? Because they ask this a lot for that final, okay? One thing I want to call your attention to as well. A lot of people get these two intervals confused. They will call this a first when it's not actually a first, probably because they're like, okay, the bottom note, boom, I have to go here. How many dots? 1. That is not correct to do it that way, okay? If it's the same exact note, G to G, that is a unison. If it is going up to, for example, like if I was counting this as my interval here, G to A, there's 2 alphas there, right? G to A, 1, 2. That would be a second, okay? So that's the one where a lot of people get those confused, and then it kind of throws off the whole sequence. So really make sure that you understand how this works so you don't get off by a number, okay? Okay, this looks like review. Write the letter names of these bass clef notes. Remember, bass clef, they spell words in each measure. So I'm gonna do like one of these and let you guys do the review. Here we go. All cows eat great big dogs. All cows eat grass. All cows eat great big dogs. Spells the word edged. Okay, it's just review. Y'all can do the rest of these very easily. Write the letter names of these treble clef notes. They spell words in each measure. Again, I'll do the first one. You guys are going to be doing all the rest of these. So here's my first one. Face is the space. C is the third letter of that. Face is the space. A is the second one. Great. Every good boy does fine. Every good boy does fine. Again, I'm just using the phrases and filling in the letters as I go. If you cannot remember that, you might have to scroll a ways up here. Take a look at it and then scroll your way back down. I know that sucks to do that, but again, that's why I'm saying figure out the process. That makes it a lot faster to figure out the notes, and you're actively, working it and learning it, as opposed to just, oh, I got to go look at the chart to figure out what this is. Okay, use that strategy. Memorize those sayings. It helps it go by a lot faster. Okay, Stems. When the note is below the third line of either clef, the stem goes up on the right side of the note as seen in this example. Here's the example. When a note is on or above the third line of either clef, the stem goes down to the left side of the note as seen in this example. Okay, so that's our rules. Let me explain the logic behind it for here. So personally, I don't really like this, you know, what does this say here? When the note is below, when it's on or above the third line, okay, so it's saying the rule, I always have to make sure I check it. That's the rule. If it's on this third line, whether it's treble clef, bass clef, alto clef, whatever, the rule is that it's supposed to go down. However, I've seen it this way too, okay? So on your middle lines, I'm going to say either option is correct because I can never remember which one it is, and it's literally the middle point. It doesn't really matter which way the stem direction goes. For the final, I don't even think it asks that question, so, or at least for the middle line. But for that middle one, it can be either or for me. I don't care. Now, when it is not on the middle line, we have to make sure that our stem is actually trying to be contained within the staff itself. Okay. What I mean by that is that I'm trying to keep this all within this zone right here. Okay, so this is below it, so the stem needs to go up. This is above it, the stem needs to go down. Up, up, etc. Okay? Now let me undo this and show you the wrong way. So right now, these are all exactly incorrect. And what I mean and why kind of the reason for this is that look at my field of vision right here. Look how much space I have to observe to kind of visually capture where all these stems are, right? That's a pretty big field of vision. I'm going to just do a quick line. And I think the top one was right about there. Now, when I do this when I do it correctly, you're going to see that my field of vision is narrowed substantially. So check this out. That's kind of where the top of this one is, and this is where this is. My field of vision has gotten almost reduced by half, right? I mean, this field of vision versus this interior one, that is huge, right? So the reason, again, is that we want to do this to keep our field of vision within the staff itself, as opposed to it being like way above, way below the lines and spaces. Okay, so that's the reason for this. Another thing that this thing neglects to mention is that your stem length, you don't want it to be like super long like this, obviously, right? That's way, 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 way too big. We also don't want it to be a short little stump like this. The approximate length should be about an octave's worth, okay? So if this is an E, I'm going to try to get it to this E right there, okay? If it's a C here, I kind of overdid this one, but it should go up to about there, okay? As long as it's about an octave's worth, that's the approximate length of a stem, okay? Just don't draw them too big or too small, okay? Another common example or common mistake that people make is drawing it on the wrong side. That's the correct side, but doing it like this or what is this? Yeah, doing it like this. To me, those notes look backwards, okay? You don't want to do it like that. You want to keep it, again, in these orientations right here, okay? So I'm going to let you guys practice this. Make sure that you're putting the stem on the correct side of it to where it's looking like this, depending on whether your stem is going up or down, okay? Make sure it looks like this. And again, make sure that you're keeping it within the field of vision of the staff as much as possible, right? So some of these, like this, this one, for example, like that one's going to go above the staff a little bit, but it's a whole lot better than that. That's super low, right? And those lines are approximately the same length. So you want to make sure, again, that you're keeping it within the field of vision, and again, drawing it about an octave's worth, okay? Hopefully that's not too hard to understand. Let's move on. The key signature, located to the right of the clef lines, indicates what note of the song, the song will be centered around. Again, centered around. It's the key of the piece. If you ever heard musicians saying like, hey, we're going to play this in E, or let's do this piece in B flat major or something, that's just telling the musicians, Here's the collection of notes we're going to use, so we're all playing in the same key, so the piece actually sounds good. If we don't agree on that, we just kind of play whatever key we want to play. If somebody's playing in E flat major and somebody's playing in D major and somebody's playing in, you know, A flat major all at the same time, and they're all trying to play the same thing, it's going to sound horrible based on that music. So again, a key signature is the collection of notes that this song is going to be centered around. It will tell you the names of the sharps and the flats you will have to remember in the song. It's kind of like a home base for the song. That's a good analogy. Following key signatures are simplest. The following key signatures are the simplest of the 15 major key signatures. You need to memorize the name of the key and the name of the sharps or flats in the key, as well as which line or space the sharp or flat is placed upon. Okay? All we're talking about for this level of theory is three key signatures total. Obviously, many of you know more than this, with, you know, multiple flats, multiple sharps, but these are the simplest. It's no sharps or flats, one sharp or one flat. Depending on your instrument, you have probably seen at least one of these pretty much most of the time. C major, that's great for like clarinets, tenor sax, trumpets, baritone, treble clef. That's a common one that you will see. G major, alto saxophones read that. Pretty much all of the string players, G major is a pretty common key for you. And F major, that's all of our concert pitch instruments like flute, what else is it? Trombone, baritone, tuba, percussion, oboe. You guys normally see stuff with flats in it. So, you know, maybe you've seen all of these, maybe you've seen none of these, but for most of you, you will at least know one of these pretty familiar. It should be pretty familiar to you, okay? So this is the example of what they look like. Now it's asking you, draw the following key signatures by placing the correct sharp, flat, or nothing in the correct place on both the treble clef and bass clef. Look at the examples above for help. So you are literally copying, like for F major, I'm going to look up here, F major, it has one flat, that flat goes right here, and that flat goes right down here. Remember, it's not the same line or space because the clef is different, right? This one's on the second line, this one's on the third line. Make sure you put the flats in the right place, okay? That is the process of doing it. Uh-oh. Oops, I hit Control-Z too many times. There we go. Okay, now we're back to where we started. I'm going to let you guys do all of these because it's literally just copying C to C major, G to G major, F to F major. You're just copying this and putting it here. It's real easy to do it, okay? So that's what I'm going to have you guys do. Make sure you do this one. Very easy to do, okay? Okay, let me just really quickly review how many pages we've done. I think we started on 11, 12, 13, so we've got about maybe 2 or 3 more pages, kind of where the natural stopping place is, and then we'll stop there. All right, name the following notes. Notice each line has a key signature. Boom, right there, and boom, right there. That's going to come into play. Remember which note is to be sharp or flatted. When you come to that letter, write a sharp or flat after the name of the note, okay? So I'm going to do the first measure of this to show you how you're going to do it. All right, treble clef faces the space, that's an E. Every good boy, so that's a B. However, in the key signature, it's telling me that that B is flat. So you have to add that flat sign there or it's incorrect. Okay, a B natural is not the same as a B flat, not the same. Okay, so whenever you encounter a B in any of these, it has to be flat. All right, that's an E. Every good boy does fine, and that comes before it right there. One other thing I'm going to mention, I'm going to help you out with this one. When you start to count backwards in the alphabet, okay, so that line is an E, the space right below that's a D, right? The line below that's a C, and the space below that is a B. That is a B. The question is it flat or not? If you said yes, you are correct. This flat on this B line applies to every single B. It doesn't matter if it's a million miles below or above the staff. Every B is flat. Doesn't matter if it's here, above, below, 2 miles below, whatever. It has to be flat. It's always going to be flat, regardless, okay? All right, let's do this one in bass clef. Here we go. Great big dogs fight animals. Again, every F that I see is going to be sharp. regardless if it's above, below, within the staff, doesn't matter. It will be sharp. All cows eat grass. All cows eat grass. All cows eat grass. Great big dogs fight animals. So no more sharps for this because it's just the F that's sharp, right? And now again, bottom line is a G. What comes before G in the alphabet? F must be sharp because again, the key signature is telling me every single F that I see here is going to be sharp. Okay, for this particular example right here, because it's in G major. Okay, one more thing I want to mention for this. Some of you may have or be under the impression of looking at this key signature and saying, okay, that's a B flat, that's in B flat major. Wrong. Just because it's in here and it's saying that the B happens to be flat doesn't equal the key signature. Another one is like, it's F sharp, it's an F sharp major. No. F sharp major actually has 6 sharps in it, okay? So just because it's located here does not mean that it equals the key signature. So don't look at this and think this is F sharp major. No, it's G major. Don't look at this and say, you know, it's a B flat, so it must be B flat major. According to that same logic, if there's nothing, does that mean I'm in nothing major, right? This just happens to be the collection of tones that make it C major, which means that everything is natural. So C natural, D natural, E natural, F natural, G natural, A natural, B natural. All of those make C major. For G major, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, sharp, and G. That makes G major with that F sharp included in there. For F major, F, G, A, B flat, C, D, E, F. All of those notes together make F major, okay? You must use this in context with all of the other notes that happen to be natural. It's a big mistake that a lot of musicians make. They think this is B flat major. No, it's an F major, okay? So try to make sure that you're starting to mentally understand that because that obviously will come into play, right? And will definitely help you become a better musician because you're going to know that information now, right? Okay, let's move on. All right, so we're going back to some counting stuff. Each line of music below is without a time signature. Decide how many beats are in each measure. Place a time signature at the beginning of the line. Don't put a slash between the numbers. Afterwards, write the counts under the notes. Okay. So now we're trying to figure out what time signature this is in. What I will say is that for some of these examples, especially if you're an advanced musician and you've seen advanced time signatures before, you can actually say multiple time signatures for stuff, but for this first theory level, I'm just going to give you the hint. Everything, the bottom number is going to be 4, okay? You're actually going to figure out, I'll probably do this example and leave you guys to do these 2 examples, but you know, let's do this. You guys are going to do those 2. I'm going to do this one with you. So all we've talked about is stuff over 4, so don't look at this and think, oh, you know, that's in like 12/16 or something, right? I mean, like, we haven't even talked about that yet. So everything is in context with the bottom number being 4. So here's how you figure this out. If we know this information, the quarter note gets the beat. All I'm going to find is, like, where is the measure that has 3 quarter notes in it? Obviously, there's one right here, right? And let's do check marks. That's easier for me to draw. Either one of those 2 measures, 1, 2, 3. 3 quarter notes, that's my time signature. That's how you figure it out easily, okay? If there just happens to not be a complete measure of quarter notes, here's another way to figure it out. So let's say that we only had half notes and quarter note measures. If my quarter note equals the beat, that's going to be 2 beats, right? 1, 2, quarter note's worth 1. How many counts do I have here? That's 3. Okay, but you can do the same exact thing with a complete measure of quarter notes like that. And again, this is just a review of how to count. We already covered this, I believe, in the last session. I think it was session 2 where we did that. But this is what it's asking you to do to complete this example. Okay, again, I'm adding dashes in here because I want those 2 numbers to be connected. It makes it more obvious in my mind. So I'm in 3/4. Here's the counts below it. Best way to figure it out is to find a measure of just quarter notes, and that'll literally tell you what the time signature is. How many quarter notes are there? 3. It's in 3/4. Okay? Okay. Place bar lines in the following lines. Check your time signature first to see where they will go, then write the counts under the notes. So this one's a little bit more complex because now we have to write these measure lines in here, right? When the measure lines are in there, it's easy, but now we have to actually place them in here. So let's do it. Ready? I'm in 4/4. That means that I'm going to leave this one for you to do down here. I'm in 4/4. That means there's 4 beats, quarter note gets the beat. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. I've reached my maximum measure line. Okay? That's how you figure this out. Do the counts, draw a measure line after count 4. This is worth 2. 1-2, 3-4. I've reached my last count, measure line. Start over again on 1. This is worth 3 counts. 2, 3, 4. I've reached my max, measure line. Start over again on 1, 2. This one's worth 2 beats, that's 3-4. Measure line. Start over again on 1, 1-2-3-4. And I've reached the end. There's my measure line, right? That's how you figure this stuff out. 4 beats per measure, quarter note gets the beat. It says to do the measure lines first and then do the counts. I think it's easier to kind of do the counts and the measure lines at the same time, but however you want to do it. Okay? All right. So this is a review for natural signs. It's doing it in multiple clefs now. So natural signs, just reminding you, it's in the front of the note, cancels out a sharp or a flat, returns it to the original place. Little square is placed on the line or the space. Easiest way to draw it is making an L, and then it's 7 next to it. Okay? Name these notes with naturals, put a natural sign after each letter. So this is in bass clef. Remember, bass clef, great big dogs fight animals. All cows eat grass. So great big natural sign. All cows eat, natural sign. All cows eat grass, natural sign. Great big dogs fight animals, natural sign. All cows eat, natural sign. Great big dogs, natural sign. Spells the word begged. Okay? I'm going to leave you guys to do this last chunk. Again, you're just reviewing what the notes are and the lines and the spaces and drawing those natural signs to practice it. Draw natural signs on the correct line or space. So it only says to do natural signs. You don't have to draw notes for this. So this is hopefully going to be pretty easy. All right, that looks like it might be on the B line. Let me redraw that because that could be confusing. There's C, there's A, there's D. Okay, and that's how you do CAD with just the natural signs. Okay, kind of review, don't need to spend a whole lot of time on it. Obviously, you guys need to complete the whole line, but again, that's how you do it to do the rest of those. All right, sharps, flats, and naturals are called accidentals when they are not in the key signature of a song. Name the letter name of these accidentals. Be sure to include the sharp, flat, or natural sign after the letter name. So now we're kind of mixing them all up. Ready? Treble clef faces the space. It's an E with a natural sign. Every good with a sharp sign. And this is, again, my top line is F for every good void is fine. What comes after F in the alphabet? G. And this is flat. So I have E natural, G sharp, G flat. Make sure that you're including those accidentals, because again, that's just kind of the general term for what sharps, flats, and naturals are called. Okay, we do one more. Faces the space, it's flat. Faces the space, A natural, faces the space, C sharp. This is F is the top one, G would be the space, A would be the line, A sharp. Bottom line is E. What comes before E in the alphabet? D. Oh my God, there's my horrible D natural again. D natural. All right, and faces the space. Spells the word facade. Okay? All right, I think you guys get the idea. I'll leave you all to do that chunk of it on your own. Okay. Add notes to complete these measures. After that, write the counts for each measure. So again, I'm going to do this at the same time because I think it's easier to do. I think it's easier to kind of do everything at the same time rather than doing one and then going back and adding it. Okay. I think I did the 4-4 example, so I'll do the 3-4 example this time. So you guys will do this one on your own. Here we go. So as you can see, there's 3 quarter notes per measure. The quarter note gets the beat. I need to add some notes here to make it complete. Okay, so let me start the counting. Always starts on count 1. Taking up 2 counts. I'm missing something to make it complete. So I actually need to draw quarter note in here for my 3rd count right there. That's how you do this, okay? It does not matter where you draw this quarter note. If you wanted to draw it like on this D line right here, do it on a D line. I don't care. As long as it's a quarter note, that's all I really care about. Okay, continuing my count, there's my measure line. Everything starts over again on 1. That's 1 beat, 2 beat. I need to do the 3rd beat, so I'm going to do this one on a C just because that's where I want to do it. Okay, and that's going to be my 3rd beat. 3rd beat. That one's worth 2. I'm going to draw another quarter note. There's my 3rd beat. 1, 2. Draw another quarter note there. All right, in case you forgot what this looks like, this is a quarter rest. So that comes in on count 1. And now I need something that's worth 2 counts, right? Because if I need to finish out counts 2 and 3, I could draw 2 quarter notes here, but I'm going to draw a half note. Because I don't want to draw 2 quarter notes, I want to draw something that's worth 2 beats. But if you wanted to draw 2 quarter notes, totally up to you. It'll still be correct, but you have to make sure that you represent both counts here, counts 2 and 3. Okay? All right, I think this is a good stopping place as we're getting into 8th notes next. Let me just make sure I've done about 5 pages. 1, 2, 4, 5. Yeah, we started at intervals. Perfect. Okay, so the next session, next video, I think we're on session 3 right now. So in session 4, we're going to start talking about 8th notes. Okay, page 16. As always, if you guys have questions on any of this stuff, please reach out to me on Teams, shoot me an email, send me a call via Teams, whatever is the most convenient for you. Remember, no questions are too unintelligent. Please ask the questions. I want you to understand this material so that way when you see it in context and music, it won't be confusing. You'll understand it and be able to do it. Okay? Best of luck. Let me know if you have questions. I'll see y'all in the next session. Bye.